1,631, believe so. And let's see, make sure everything's working. Looks like it. Okay, there's a live chat. 1,630. Turn it down a little bit. I know, that was YouTube. We're on YouTube. I don't see the chats on there. I know there's a system that you can put together that you can see everybody's chat at the same time, and that would be really handy. So I need to learn how to do that, right? I need to learn how to do that. So we are burning the midnight oil before it is Monday. I'm going to say happy Sunday. Just incredible day. We are always burning the midnight oil, it seems lately, because of, everything being so political, and this huge change, right? This huge change of administration. And it's just the information is pouring in because, for the longest time, it seems that, people were very, very afraid, really just keeping their jobs, right? Keeping their jobs. And we understand that, but at the same time, at what cost? At what cost? So today is 1,631 days since Richard was brutally murdered, premeditatedly, code red, internal, absolutely government sanctioned. It's government sanctioned, y'all. There's no other explanation. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not grabbing it out of the air. I'm not dreaming about it. We have a robust filing cabinet. Someone told me that the other day, and I thought that was pretty good. I like that word, robust. Your investigation is so robust. I'm like, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Our investigation is robust. We have from audio tapes, from confessions, from open records, just 4 years, over 4 years, 4.5 years of very, very hard work every day. And that's something that doesn't happen very often, is that a family will be working for over 4 years every day, right? Every day to gather evidence. And those that have been watching us absolutely know that every day seems to bring new leads, and putting all of the story, the investigative theory, to fact, and so we've been right all along. And, this week it was these tunnels and that are government sanctioned all through, I should say, all underneath through to Juarez, Mexico, underneath El Paso through to Juarez, Mexico. And I've known that for a long, long time because of my history with El Paso, my dad's history with El Paso and White Sands Missile Range. And then we have the government sanctioned. I don't know how else to put it, but California, it just seems that the government was so derelict, or they created it, they sanctioned it. Is that the right word? This huge fire that, and I was going to put up the map. I meant to do that, but yeah, I'll do it later. And because Los Angeles County, the population there is so huge. Just Los Angeles has more Americans or more population than most of the entire states of the United States. There's only a few states that have a larger population than Los Angeles. And it is just a really, really fascinating map to look at. But what does this tell you? That this huge population was not getting their money's worth, were they? They were paying these huge wages to government workers to to protect their property, really. I mean, that's the bottom line, because they are Californians. And Californian property is really good. It's the land is amazing. It's some of the most fertile land in the world, if not the most fertile land in the world. Um, and so, for it to be so precious, to have. I worked at Blackland Research Center in Temple, Texas, and I did soil sampling. That was my job, my summer job through college is uh, soil sampling, collecting, and you learn very, very quickly how precious good soil is, right? Because most of the time you have to spend a lot of money on fertilizer or other, should I say, other ingredients to make the land fertile. And you really have to take care of it if you want to have a produce that is has the least amount of disease and the least amount of infestations, can handle a drought, can handle a wetness, right? There's just so much to it, and I don't claim to be an expert. I was very young, and I was paying my way through college, and I traipsed through fields collecting soil and and separating it, cutting it, and measuring, making sure everything was labeled with the depths, the different depths and everything, exactly the GPS locations um, of the spots, and uh, y- what did I learn from that? Soil is precious, and California has some of the best soil. And so you take your pearls and you throw them to swine, right? This is what has happened. You take your very precious land and you give it to people that don't care about it. They don't clean up the brush. They don't put up fire um, uh, fire lanes or fire guards or barriers. They could do that with dirt and everything. But the big thing is cleaning up the brush, right? They minimize the logging, which it prevents a clean forest. They do mess with water, so that water, and I have a real beef, and uh, I've said this for years now, even through the mandate. I said, if they want us to be healthy, why don't they give us the cleanest, most crystal clear water? We have the know how to have the best water. You can go to Mr. Kansas. He's passed away since, but still his inventions are there, from Sanibel Island. Amazing inventions for the cleanest, crystal clear salinization of water. Cheap, cheap through radio waves. It's amazing. Why don't they give us that? Right? Because clean water, especially if it's been structured, is like the healthiest thing ever for bathing, for drinking, for cooking, for everything. Water is it. So why don't they focus on that? No, they dump the beautiful rainwater. They dump it into the ocean. They don't store it. They mishandle the fire hydrants. So you have this precious, precious soil, precious, precious land. The reason why so many people want to go there because the weather, the land, it's just a little piece of heaven, right? California is just this amazing, amazing farmland. Amazing farmland means amazing food, amazing weather, amazing, animals. The grazing. Yes, they got rid of the grazing of the animals, and this is something I learned from Ireland. Is if you have a lot of property and you don't have time to mow, get yourself a donkey, get yourself a couple sheep, and let them graze the land. They will make it beautiful. They will, and if you have a lot of branches and trees and stuff, you can get some goats. The goats will eat all that through. And if it's controlled, it's just amazing. And then you can have the really great goat cheese, and you can have lamb chops, and you can have, there's just amazing, amazing things with someone that cares about the land, that cares about the people, that wants to protect property, right? That wants to do something good for the health of the people. But no, they were doing everything to make people sick, make the land sick. You got this beautiful land and you're making it sick with all the brush. All that brush carries disease, right? It carries disease. And then the higher the brush, the more rats and things like this to make people sick. They absolutely, it's government sanctioned destruction, government sanctioned trafficking, government sanctioned murder of a whistleblower. And, it's very, very clear. And this is a very sad way of proving that we have evidence in Richard's case of the same kind of dereliction of duty, of evil intentions, of government sanctioned destruction, right? And breaches of security. Breaches of security. Um, this is a very sad way, and I don't want the burning to continue. I don't want these precious buildings to be burnt down, the art to be lost, you know, uh, lives. What is it? 24 lives now, maybe more now. The last time I heard, 24 lives were lost. In El Paso, we have hundreds of thousands of kidnapped, taken children. They call them unaccompanied. You don't have hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children. That's ridiculous. They're taken. They're taken. And now they're mostly dead. And now we have from these fires right out in the, you know, unnecessary. They could have restrained the fires. eh, uh, you're going to have disasters. That's why we have fire departments. You're going to have disasters. That's why we have water managers. You're going to have these things, but you can prepare and restrain. Prepare and restrain bad things from happening. And now we have 24 deaths that most likely all of them were unnecessary because of government sanctioned ridiculous policies for social uh, 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 advancement that I would only claim that has to be religious, right? Everything is religious too, so that's why, I'm absolutely for Christianity, right? Absolutely. So, but this is something evil. This is something very, very evil that means a lot of people harm. And yeah, and and you have these psyops on TV. It's just just to twist people's minds and from reality. So something strange happened over Christmas with us. Something evil too that happened with us over Christmas, and that is, you know, El Paso Matters and Bob Moore doesn't. They just don't do things right. They're how they do things is always a political a thought out. Political timing. I would say that better. Political timing. And so right at Christmas, when they know that we're Christian, they know that we're very liturgical Christians, right? That we absolutely believe in the 25th of December and the 26th of December and the 12 days of the following, the octave plus the 4 days of celebrating Christmas. They know that. And we believe also because of our robust evidence that, of course, it is, the word is getting out that Richard was murdered. And now with and I wanted to post that too, the arms room door with the seal, the red security seal with its number, which has been, very, very informative to us. So, Richard's case is ongoing. It's an active and ongoing murder case. And Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, especially El Paso Matters, doesn't want you to know that it is an ongoing active murder investigation, that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. And so this means a huge cover up, right? When people are like, what do you mean that happened in 2020? Well, yeah, because it's a big cover up. And, so this timing at Christmas, to right in the middle of Christmas, to notify us that there was going to be a story put out. And we, of course, since we issued the cease and desist, um, we retained a lawyer to uh, send them a cease and desist, and for their other false narrative, using a partial twisted report, and then not responding to our no less than 15 attempts to communicate with them and ignoring us, uh, because they're up to no good, because they're absolutely colluding. They're associating with the criminal group. From I mean, the first thing when this latest article came up, I think one of the first people was Amber Chase to comment on it. So that is absolutely not an accident. Um, uh, they have a conflict of interest together. And of course, Bob Moore uses Leilani Hart, and now he used Dallas Hart. And of course, he uses Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. Of course, he is a political attack dog, which is, for him, it's a violation of his 501c3. He wants his cake and eat it too. He wants to be a political attack dog, but he wants to not have to pay taxes, right? He wants all the benefits of a 501c3 without any regard to the policies and the requirements of and to abide by those requirements and policies of a 501c3. So he's a real scoundrel, a real scoundrel. El Paso Matters is a real scoundrel. And so during Christmas, and of course, we're on our toes all the time, and we're willing all the time to because we have hundreds of thousands of taken children that are now mostly dead. And we have our son that was brutally murdered, and we have Glennon Oakley Jr., and we have whose death is, heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. I just can't even imagine how the parents feel if it does this to me. Thinking of that, I just think of that interview when he was so beautiful, and the beautiful picture of him smiling. I was showing someone today. It's just heartbreaking. And then Asia Graham, I just cry over her because don't you remember that sweet video? Oh my gosh, it was such a sweet video of her so excited when she joined the military. Her father had died and she was going to take care of her mother. Um, and she joined and she was so aspiring, right? So excited about doing it. And it's just absolutely, it's so criminal what our leadership has done to our sons and daughters. It's just so criminal. Um, and so, of course, we are willing, and even at Christmas time, and he absolutely notified us. But we have an ongoing case with him, and he needed to contact our lawyer. We have an ongoing case with El Paso Matters. We responded to El Paso Matters, saying really, we don't want to interfere in the case that we have against Bob Moore. Um, so, this is how we're going to respond. Um, and they, you need to not even think about a story because of your dereliction, your unethical procedures, your twisting of the story, of the facts. You're not wanting to engage with us. So and they'll say, oh, we contacted them, but they don't want to engage, right? So the way it was very interesting, everything that happened. Uh, so when we made some very, 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 very good points, I think it kind of scared them because we absolutely are organizing behind the scenes. Um, and, so they decided to uh, uh, introduce someone from Washington, D.C. Um, and what the connection was, and I don't know if I can really say it, but what the connection, I can tell you the connection. The connection led to General John Kelly. That's where the connection led to. And, because, we are a military family. We do keep up with politics. Of course, in 2019 and 2020 and all of that, we keep up with what was going on. Of course, since 2016, it's just been crazy. We were keeping up. We knew that General John Kelly, after he retired, became DHS, Department of Homeland Security, right? He was in charge of that border. He was in charge of that border. He had very, very close relationship with El Paso. Okay. Uh, that's it. And he had a very close relationship with, with Michael Garrett. And, all I did was ask, hey, who knows Karen Chavez Garrett? Who knows Thomas Troy Garrett? Because they seem to be up to no good. We have we have the screenshots, and somehow they have a connection to asymmetric warfare tactics. Asymmetric warfare tactics, up to no good. And why would that happen? Why would that happen against a family? And at that time, when we just thought that, we didn't know really what was going on. We knew that they were lying to us. And we knew that there was foul play from the very beginning. I even told Robert. Robert would even vouch to say, "Yeah, Mom, you absolutely said, Richard, there's foul play, right?" And so, but we wanted to stay calm. We wanted to uh, get all the information that we could, and we had retaliation. We received retaliation when we were patient. Um, and for coming in so late, and all the dereliction that we got, and all the PAO, the stars and stripes, the retaliation that Richard was getting, and then of course it came to us, and Veronica Escobar, and all this retaliation. So yeah, it just um, uh, it's clear that Michael Garrett, uh, just by so much evidence, robust evidence, that he is just up to no good. And now the connection with who he had to work closely with, because Michael Garrett, General Garrett, was the FORSCOM general, the general over Vanessa Guillen, the general over Richard. And so, now with Bob Moore, we're being connected to John Kelly, the DHS, over, the border area, the border area where you have government sanctioned tunnels, government sanctioned tunnels, and absolutely out of control criminal trafficking. Out of control. And it is very interesting that when Richard was making his complaints, um, yeah, the Walmart mass shooting happened. And yeah, so John Kelly, uh, you know, um, he was very connected to everything that was going on at the border. Okay, very. He had absolute um, access to information, all information that was going on at the border. And now he's connected with, seemingly, apparently, with El Paso Matters, with El Paso Community Foundation. Is he connected to the Santa Teresa Jetport? That's a good question, because a lot of information is coming in from the Santa Teresa Jetport. Uh, yeah, it has been coming in for a long time. And now with El Mayo Zapata, the Mexican cartel leader, El Chapo, the El Chapo's son was with him when he was arrested. Sorry. And, billionaire. And his lawyer happens to be the lawyer that was assigned, uh, you know, to Richard. This all has to do with the connection of the El Paso cartel with the Mexican cartel involved in criminal trafficking, the worst types of crime, and of course the ammunition, the link from the Walmart mass shooting to Richard's unit. Um, Absolutely, and soldiers just don't get murdered like this. Um, and yet they do. And yet they do. And so I did make a meme, um, It is with Richard, the soldier, Judge Rodriguez, the judge, the anti-terrorism coordinator for Fort Bliss, and then of course President Trump, where the buck stops, right? The helm, the helm. Um, so that is really something that everyone needs to know. And that is, what do they have in common? And that is border strong, border security, advocating for border security and being retaliated for that. All three have been retaliated for that. And, doing what's right. And I would think that all three are whistleblowers. Has President Trump officially, in his capacity, whistleblown? And I think he has. They're all three whistleblowers. And with Richard's case, Judge Rodriguez is the whistleblower for Richard's case, which Bob Moore fails to address, because it absolutely, look, you've got a judge who was in, on the record, right, in an interview as the coordinator for terrorism and homeland security, right? So, uh, for the program for Fort Bliss, and is the official whistleblower in Richard's case, identifying the culprits of intentionally interfering and tampering with Richard's case, and also as the prime suspects in his murder case. And one of those being a CID agent, Tavita Nusa, the other Leilani Hart, with all of her connections, including Dallas Hart, which is Richard's platoon leader, and her husband, um, the Veteran Affairs IDES Pablo, which is Veterans Disability Benefits, that I think were misused. Were misused. Um, so she says that's not my words. Those are Leilani's talking about her husband. So and then Bob Moore doesn't want to talk about that, and then they pull this weird thing on Christmas and put out another very misleading uh, defamation. That's why I liked Melania Trump's post that she put up today, that she's suing $100 million for that TV group, right? Um, because of defamation. I'm like, oh, okay, wow, that's good. That's good. I hope she gets every penny of it. And that's absolutely what what El Paso Matters has been doing, is calling me names, threatening me, um, which is defamation, intimidation, and because everything that I say, I back up with evidence. I back it up with evidence. Do they have Richard's body? We have evidence. We have witnesses. Was Richard murdered on Fort Bliss? We have evidence. We have witness testimony. You know, the I'm it's robust. It's robust. That's the best word. There's so much there. And I don't think, people understand so much. I think it's getting to be that way, because it is really hard to think of a family day in and day out collecting all this information and organizing all this information. How many families can do that? They just can't do that. Rob was older when for Richard. You know, you have to be in a certain period of your life and have a certain experience and everything and running McGuffey's, being a homeschool mom, Rob being a 30-year veteran with all of his connections, both of us having connections in El Paso and beyond. And, how many families have all that? It's just God's hand is all over this. And we're, with our team find Richard Halliday, it has absolutely allowed us to do this and our experience to do this, to fight for our son, which is the right thing to do. We would be really terrible if we didn't fight for our son, because we have the ability to fight for him and for the hundreds of thousands of taken children that are now mostly dead, to restrain that any further. It cannot happen anymore. And and the weapons trafficking and the ammunition trafficking, and just turning things to ashes with government sanctioned destruction. So that is what's there's so much to say because there's so much going on. But with Bob Moore and El Paso Matters leading us to uh, General John Kelly in this, and then looking him up, and absolutely him being involved in what's going on at the border with Michael Garrett. Absolutely, 100%. No wonder he has skin in the game. He has skin in the game. He has skin to lose, right? And they should be very, very nervous. These four-star generals that have committed treason. They have committed acts that are deserving the death penalty. And President Trump has said that federally, he wants the death penalty. And for Texas, for these kind of crimes, they face the death penalty. So, it, yeah, they might send their relatives, even though they're unqualified, even though they'll commit a crime. They're so lawless. They're so bold. They think that they commit crimes and with impunity, that they're above the law. For them, they're above the law. And then they say no one's above the law, but but they're laughing behind our backs because they absolutely think that they are above the law, and they think it's a joke. They really do. They think it's a joke. So, this is because clearly, when you do open records, you see how lawless they are. You absolutely see, oh, you got the usurper, you got the illegal, and they're cashing in, they're holding these positions. I'm thinking about California. It's like, okay, you got these absolutely unqualified people. Let's really look to see their qualifications. I hope that Californians will do an open records to see if these people were even in their positions legally. Were they usurpers also? Or did they just take that position? Because clearly they were not qualified. Look at the absolutely deadly mistakes that they made. And, a lot of people think those mistakes were on purpose. So I don't know if I think that. I mean, maybe it's on purpose from someone putting these unqualified people in positions. I don't know, but it's deadly. It's deadly. And for this government sanctioned destruction to happen is not the way that I wanted to show that in a different respect, in a different way, El Paso was being put into ashes also, through the criminal trafficking, through all of the money laundering through the criminal trafficking from the criminal trafficking. So, with that, I hope everyone says a prayer and because, and hold on to your seats because people in high places are going to be facing the death penalty, and they rightfully need to. They rightfully need to because their crimes are so egregious and they've hurt so many. They've turned so many to ashes, and we cannot tolerate that. So thank you so much. God bless you. And think about the MAGA soldier, the MAGA judge, and the MAGA president, Richard Halliday, Judge Rodriguez, and President Trump, and pass that around. Pass that meme around. Share it, and that's very, very helpful for us. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll be back